Welcome to the Mizzle Show, where they know sports. If you want to know about sports, this is where you go. Welcome to the Mizzle Show, where they know sports. If you want to know about sports, this is where you go.
Well, hi. It's another late night edition of the Mizzle Dub Show, but it's kind of a bittersweet, melancholy kind of episode. Now, there is one sports subject or two that we may tackle, but in this particular episode, we're going to venture off into, as my brother likes to say, the male soap opera, as he calls it. Yes, the world of professional wrestling, and the shirt that he's wearing, he's kind of giving it away. But before we get into that, it is over. And now I can officially say we are on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he can officially say they are on to the Denver John Elways, aka the Broncos.
Donkeys. The donkeys. They don't even deserve to be called Broncos. They're the fucking donkeys.
Anyhow, preseason is over. It is for real. And I think it's by 1 p.m. today. They have to be down to their final 53, and of course, with their practice squad teams.
Now you can have more on the practice squad this year, right?
I think it's 16 for the practice squad, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So, I know in the Raiders case, there was a battle at wide receiver to join Renfro and Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers.
Battle.
It was a battle. So who do you think joins that three guys previously mentioned in the wide receiver room?
Well, I believe the rookie's going to make it. Turner, number 89.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner make it. For some odd reason, I think Cam Sims might make it over Wilkerson because Wilkerson had a few drops.
Okay.
You have drops. Unless he goes special teams. So I would say Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfro, Turner, and I think either Cam Sims. I think Cam Sims might make it just by that spectacular catch that he made that Aaron Aiden O'Connell put right on him. Had no choice but to catch it. But that's not the reason I would be happy. The reason why I'm happy, and now that I have more confidence that my team might win more games, because this young stud takes a lot of pressure off Jimmy G and brings 8 in the box and will help out the wide receivers. We got Josh, fuck you, Jacobs back in the fold. Beautiful.
Well, not just that. He's back to his Alabama number, which was the number of 8.
So you're gonna have that good feeling, you know what I'm saying?
The elephant might come out of him.
Yeah. But I believe I would be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Wilkerson makes it, but I don't think he should because I believe Cam Sims might be the little more veteran that veteran presence that we might need. Plus, they're both tall.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Sims might be the better receiver, but I wouldn't be shocked if they do pick Wilkerson.
Well, that is a tough battle, and it was a fantastic battle. But it appears that this is one of the deeper Raider teams that has been there in a very, very long time. So that can play a huge part, and hopefully they will try to improve on this 6-11. Some would say disappointment, but some would say, well, they don't have the players yet, but it seems like they have the players that they want to run the scheme that they want. And of course, it's all about players that fit the program you're trying to run. So we will see from there.
Before we move on, Tyree Wilson is a grown ass fucking man. and he will wreak havoc, him and Max Crosby.
Well, when you have the ability to do a speed rush and a bull rush, the only thing he has to do now is just finish the play. That's all he has
I'm
to
the
do.
quarterback. Because if he off that it was everything was perfect. He just pushed. I mean, even though Greer moved, but if he'd have stuck that big long tree trunk arm out of his, I think
the wingspan.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. A lot of people were critical on him, but the young man just started to practice, and that was his first game action. And for him to do that, you got to look beyond, you know. So yeah, I'm not too pissed off about that. If that's what preseason is all for him to get his feet wet and figure some stuff out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it is what it is. But of course, teams have been waving and doing cuts all over the place. Like I said, the final roster has to be cut down by tomorrow, and then you will see where it goes from there. But there was a trade that took place on one of the final days of the preseason. It was a whirlwind 24 hours, but nonetheless, Trey Lance, who was the number 3rd pick overall in the draft in 2021, gets traded to the Arlington Cowboys for a 4th round pick. I had discussions with Cowboy fans because they were asking me what I thought about the trade.
Well, I'll just say that my significant other was like, we did business with the Niners. Like, well, yeah, that's not the first time. Just think about Ken Norton Jr. and Charles Haley. You know.
Well, you can go tell her. In the 90s, the Niners handed you the final piece to your dynasty. You're welcome, which was Charles Haley.
That's what you said, Charles Haley.
I tell every Cowboy fan this, and they have no choice but to nod and say, "Well, you are correct." Yeah. If there's one trade that Eddie Garoppolo, if Eddie DeBartolo Jr. could take back one trade, I guarantee you, like, I would have not traded Charles Haley to the damn Dallas Cowboys. Well, at that time, the Irving Cowboys, because they were actually playing in Irving, Texas. But that's another story for another day. But Trey Lance goes to the 49ers. The 49ers received a 4th round pick. So here's in hindsight what happened. The Niners traded 3 picks to go get him, which turned into Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Bradley Chubb. Mike McDaniels is saying, thank you, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyhow, and this is what I've been saying, and I will say this until he retires. Unfortunately for Trey Lance, he came into an unfortunate situation because the Niners have a roster that is built to win now. Yes. And you know as well as I know, in today's NFL, you have maybe a 3 to 4 year window to try to get one Lombardi trophy. Okay. There has been a reason why no team has repeated as Super Bowl champions since the Patriots did in 2003 and 2004. It's hard to maintain and to keep your roster as is. It's not like the 80s and 90s.
Free agency. With free agency,
especially with the way that free agency is more rampant than it was back then. Back then, when we were younger, not so much. But because of today's age and just people trying to get together, want to play together, teams don't stay together as long. So the Niners, as they're built right now, possibly maybe have 2 years to try to get that elusive 6th ring. 3 out of the last 4 years, they've been in the NFL's Final Four. 2 of the last 2 years, they've been in the conference championship game, and because of quarterback play or lack thereof, they've fallen short. And as many good things as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have done, in their tenure, which started back in 2017, the one position that has seemed to have held them back has been the damn quarterback position. Only one time has a quarterback taken every snap in a season, and until 3rd and 15, they were on their way to winning a possible Lombardi Trophy for the 6th time in their first.
That was that Garoppolo's year that he
That was
played.
Garoppolo's year. It was Garoppolo's year that he played all 16 games.
It's the one time that you wanted him to underthrow or be short with his pass. Would have been that pass.
Yeah, well,
I say the 3rd and 15. I'm talking about when he.
When he overthrew Emmanuel Sanders, absolutely. But here's the thing.
And how it's hard to overthrow Emmanuel Sanders.
No, you're correct. Because I mean, he hit him on the same exact play earlier in that season against the Saints, to which Sanders fell down. He wasn't touched and got back up and scored. But again, I go back to fourth quarter play in those 2 times to where when you need to Garoppolo to make a play. In the fourth quarter in Super Bowl 54 against the Chiefs, he was 3 for 11 and 36 yards, took a sack, and I think eventually threw a late interception, and the Chiefs won their game. Then you go back to the 2021 title game against the Rams.
I don't know what the hell he was doing. He threw that interception. He was blind.
He was 3 of 9 for 30 yards in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So when you need him to make a play or a throw, he couldn't. And then again, I go back to Kyle Shanahan not sticking to what was working. Again, I've beat this with a dead. I've beaten over this broken record so many times. Talking about they stopped giving Mostert and Debo the ball against the Chiefs. I've beaten over this subject so many times about Debo Samuel did not touch the ball for the last 12 minutes and 42 seconds of the game, and you're like, why? But again, in Trey's case, he came into an unfortunate situation, just didn't have enough time and didn't have enough reps. Last season was supposed to be his year to be the starter, to be the guy. Kyle Shanahan calls a dumb quarterback run play, fractures the ankle. Here comes Garoppolo. Garoppolo hurts his freaking foot. And it's probably somewhere in one of our episodes to where I said, and I quote, "Don't be surprised if Brock Purdy ends up playing in this season." Now, I'm not trying to say I'm a prophet. By no means am I trying to say that. But
your team.
But, like we always say, when you know your team, you know your team. But nobody in their right mind, unless you were in Brock Purdy's inner circle or his college coaches or his high school coaches, nobody in their right imagination thought that Brock Purdy was going to do what he did when he came in and played. Nobody.
Third string at that.
Third string being
and
the final pick. Right? Yeah, being the final pick of the draft.
That boy, he showed up though.
If you were a Hollywood writer, you could.
He might get a biography. He just by being Mr. Irrelevant #1. But then just what he did the moment he took the reins, and hence the reason why you see Trey Lance is now gone, Jimmy Garoppolo is gone, and the keys are in Brock Purdy. Now, I do kind of see Sam Darnold might start a game or two this year. I just saying.
No. I mean, it's a fair assessment because, again, as I've said, the one possession that has held this team back from possibly winning that elusive 6th Lombardi has been the doggone quarterback position. And again,
it's not a position, but it's part of the team. You can also say your damn head coach.
Well,
but real sports fans, and I'm not going to even say Niner fans, any sports fan saw what he did in the Super Bowl against the Patriots when he was the OC with Atlanta. He clearly sabotaged that Super Bowl. Clearly. I don't understand. Minus the fact that the Patriots did start to play defense and then the offense kind of clicked. But that game should not have been the way it was. That game was put away. Everybody was ready to go party. I was like, this Super Bowl. Oh. But yet we still watched it in fucking Brady.
But again, okay.
Went away from the running game, which was
dominant. Yes. Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman was torching that Patriots defense. But not only that, the amazing grab that Julio Jones made, and I still don't know to this day how he got both feet in bounds.
Yes, you do. It's Julio.
I know, but
you know
but still, just the fact that he got both feet in.
Stop. I don't know why you shocked. That's like the catch that Devontae Adams made against the Niners.
No. It's not shocking. It just still makes you in awe of how just fantastic he was that season and how he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but that's another story for another day. But right after that play is like, okay, why are you still passing? Run the damn ball, make the Patriots take timeouts. You had a fantastic money kicker in Matt Bryan, who was very good in the clutch. I mean, hell, the man made a 63-yarder to beat the freaking Eagles when he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is one of the greatest radio calls ever by Gene Deckeroff, the longtime voice of Florida State and the Buccaneers. Listen to that call. But anyhow, I mean, I just, and here's what gets me, and I know you feel the same way. Here's what gets me about NFL coaches. They try to think they're the smartest guy in the room. It's like, bro, clock management. It's very important. Okay, what do I have to do to run the clock? It's not that hard.
In bounds and run the ball and not get incomplete passes.
And no penalties, obviously.
And it's okay. If it's manageable fourth down, if it's like 4th and inches, go for it.
Go for it.
But if your offensive line is doing what they're doing and you're getting maybe like 3-4 yards a pop, you should be easily running that clock down. There was, what was it, 24-3? No, wait, 20. What was the
28-3 was the score in Super Bowl 50.
Bro,
52, no, 51. Super Bowl 51.
My brother, only comebacks happen like that in Madden. Hell, let alone a fucking Super Bowl. That, if anybody want to say what's the worst besides when the Chiefs destroyed the Buccaneers in the fucking Super Bowl, that was horrible. That was a terrible display.
You mean the Buccaneers destroying the Chiefs?
Yes, there we go. Vice versa. Yeah. Yes. That was a horrible display of football. Okay. Now, before we got to that game, the Falcons and the damn Patriots. Come on, man.
And keep in mind,
Come on, man.
Up until that happened, the largest comeback in the Super Bowl had been 10 points. Of course, Doug Williams in his famous second quarter against the Broncos in Super Bowl 22. And
you're right.
And the Saints coming back down 10 to the Colts in Super Bowl 44.
In the rain.
To which Tracy Porter told Deuces to Peyton Manning after he jumped the route in front of Reggie Wayne and took it to the house, and the Aints became world champions. Now, back to Trey Lance. He never got the chance to develop. He never got the chance to show, because the talent is there. His arm talent is there.
Yes.
And you see the ability. Yeah. He was a high draft pick from scouts for a reason. The kid has talent, and I hope he goes to Arlington, and I hope he pushes Dak to make Dak better.
I just hope Dak don't teach him that. No, bro.
No, don't no.
Hell. Trey Lance might have a chance to play this year too.
Well, I mean, Dak has missed some time. And I think this is why
am I wishing any injury on Dak Prescott?
No, by no means.
My team. Lord have mercy if he goes down. Right now, will Raider Nation be shocked? No. I seen Jimmy G get pushed out of bounds playing against the Chiefs on a scramble play, and he broke his goddamn ankle. So,
and you know what I said when that happened? I said the season is over. And that was week 3 of 2018. I said, oh, he tore his ACL, season is over. And they promptly went to go finish, I think, 4-12 that year.
But I'll be worried if Jimmy G goes down, but we got a stud at a quarterback as a rookie.
Correct.
That kid, and you know what? I know I'm not foreshadowing, but that kid can play football. But let's finish what you're talking about with Trey Lance and the Niners.
And I mean, like I said, I get it. The Niners accommodated him, and here was something that really caught my mind when he got traded. Trey Lance literally went to John Lynch and apologized and said, "No, we failed you." And Kyle Shanahan said, "I failed you," which, given Kyle Shanahan's ego, exactly, give him the golf clap, exactly. And then for Garoppolo to say what he said today, yeah, he said that Trey is a talented football, but he just needs the time.
Yeah.
So again,
that's a fact statement.
So there is talent in the build. The talent is there. It's just he just needs the chance to play, and it sucks because even last season, as you know, I was looking forward to seeing him get his shot because we figured Jimmy was gone, but nonetheless, Trey gets traded to the Cowboys, but a lot of his former teammates are rooting for the young man, as am I. It would be pretty interesting if, as we know, week 5 on Sunday night, the Cowboys make their return appearance back to Santa Clara at Gene Stadium at Great America.
Trying to get to that game. As you see,
it would be
have to go.
It would be very surprising if somehow Trey Lance gets in that game somehow, some way. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. However, we'll see that later on. But anyhow, the real reason why we are doing this show is for 2 reasons. One, we will get to that. Now, before we get to him, before that, earlier in the last week, one of the all-time legendary men of the sport,
the hardcore legend. Elf.
We called him middle-aged and crazy because that's what he called himself, of the Double Cross Ranch, of course, the legendary Terry Funk passed away at the age of 79. Terry Funk sacrificed his body to entertain us fans.
Him and Mick Foley. Oh my goodness.
They are the kings of the death matches. And if you don't know what a death match is, just go to YouTube and type in Terry Funk versus Mick Foley Japanese death match, and you'll understand why.
Barbed wire bats, chairs, bombs, broken glass. Oh my goodness. Those yeah. Terry Funk was a pillar to what we watch right now.
Of course, him and his legendary family, of course, Dory Sr., their dad, Dory Funk Jr., their brother, of course, the Funk brothers and the Briscoe brothers, the only set of brothers to win the NWA World Heavyweight title. Yes. Both sets of brothers have done it. Of course, for me, my first glimpse of Terry Funk, actually, truth be told, was he was actually in Over the Top, which of course is a cult classic. He was in Over the Top, where you saw him get pushed down by Sylvester Stallone. So pay attention. Pay attention. But for me,
you just dropped on our show.
Yeah, my first intention of Terry Funk was back at WrestleMania 2 when him and his brother, WrestleMania 2, yes, they were in a tag team match. They ended up winning the match, but Jimmy Hart was their manager, and I forgot who was their opponents. But just the way the Funk brothers would sell, and of course Terry was one of the best sellers, and floppers, a la like Ric Flair, and then, of course, the rivalry that Terry Funk had with Ric Flair in 1989, which led to one of the great Pier 6 brawls at the 89 Great American Bash. I've talked about that match so many times at verbatim between Funk and Flair, which led to Funk and the Great Muta being a tag team, which led Flair and Sting to being a tag team, which gave us the first Thunderdome cage match at the first Halloween Havoc back in 89, and then the I Quit match between those two. And then Terry Funk basically is the guy that gave ECW credibility. We're talking about the original ECW, gave it credibility. being one of its heavyweight champions, of course, being a mentor to Tommy Dreamer, of course. Tommy Dreamer will not shut up about Terry Funk
Tommy Dreamer,
and
baby.
whatnot. But yeah, of course, the barbed wire match between him and Sabu for the world heavyweight title in the world's famous Bingo Hall ECW. The Stuff of Legend, of course. One of the matches he had with Mick Foley when the whole crowd threw chairs into the ring, and they both.
Are you still in the 90s? Or are we talking in the 2000s now? This is how long Terry Funk has been rapping, people. This is
still, we haven't even got to him as Chainsaw Charlie yet in the WWF.
Oh my goodness, we ain't touched it yet. Okay.
So of course, Mick Foley brings out the Cactus Jack character. And of course, for those of us that first come across Mick Foley, we first think of him as Cactus Jack, certainly in the WCW days. So in the WWF, he brings out the Cactus Jack moniker, and then you hear this chainsaw coming out of a box. You're like, what the hell? It's Chainsaw Charlie. Only to find out, you look through the stocking and the pantyhose. I'm like, oh, it's Terry Funk. So, of course, we go back to WrestleMania 14, their famous match with the New Age Outlaws, where Terry Funk puts both the Outlaws in a forklift into the dumpster, and Chainsaw Terry Funk win the World Tag Team titles. So Terry Funk's career has spanned 4 to 5 decades.
Yes.
Him and Dory Funk Jr. got into the Hall of Fame, inducted by their longtime rival Dusty Rhodes. Of course, we can talk at verbatim about the Rhodes Funk rivalry, which dates back the test of time. But I mean, Terry Funk, definitely one of the all-time great legends and great entertainers. And certainly want to give Terry his flowers because he is as important of a name in the business.
Like I said, pillar.
With the rest of them. He is definitely old school NWA to the end, but we just want to send our prayers to his brother Dory Funk Jr. and of course the rest of the Funk family. And then it's very rare and it hurts when an active wrestler passes away. But before we do that and talk about this guy, let's just
dude, this one hurt one.
Out of all the rendition of themes he had, this one is still my favorite for obvious reasons.
Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir.
Wyndham Lawrence Rotunda, better known to us as Bray Wyatt and The Fiend, tragically passed away Wednesday or Thursday. Triple H put it on his Twitter as it was from his father, Mike Rotunda, aka IRS. Which of course, Bray Wyatt comes from the legendary Wyndham Rotunda family. Obviously, his grandfather, the late great Blackjack Mulligan, the original outlaw, trained by his uncle, the legendary Barry Windham. Of course, Barry Windham, in his own right, one of the best big men in the business. Of course, his uncle Kendall Windham, and of course, his brother Bo Dallas, aka Uncle Howdy, which a lot of people didn't know that was Bo Dallas, aka Taylor Rotunda. In the prime of his life, in the prime of his career, gone at the age of 36, certainly one of the great characters and one of the greatest minds that unfortunately we do not get to see his full expansion of his character and his his creativity. I mean, this really hits hard like it did when Owen Hart lost his life tragically in 1999 in May in Kansas City.
I saw it. I was watching that pay-per-view when it happened.
So I wasn't, but I got here's how I remember that, because out of all people, it was Tony, aka Boot Knife, of all people, it was Tony that called me to tell me that. And I was like, what?
Might have been watching it with him.
And of course, that was all we talked about that day at school. We all met in the quad on the steps. It was like really? Owen, what? And at that particular time, Owen was ready to retire, and he was supposed to win the Intercontinental title that night and have a nice run as Intercontinental Champion. Of course, this takes us back to Eddie Guerrero in 2000 in 2005. Brian Pillman in 1997. It's just it's tragic.
Say Chris Benoit.
I didn't say Benoit, but I mean
Chris Benoit.
Benoit's a different story because
yeah, but it that still
and it's kind of they're kind of intertwined for this reason because as we know, Chris and Eddie were very very closer than brothers.
It hit Chris Benoit hard, and you saw it. That interview,
yeah,
that interview he did, you knew it was like that was.
Benoit was never the same after Eddie's passing, and there's a part to where when Brody Lee passed away,
you saw that
in 2020, Bray's touching tribute he put on his Instagram page. You can tell Bray was definitely not the same. Then Bray was battling some stuff, going through a divorce before he got with JoJo and that stuff, and then battling an illness, and then the word was he had a heart attack dealing with COVID situations, and then something else I read, he told his wife he was going to take a nap and never woke up.
He died peacefully.
Yeah, so he didn't suffer. Which sucks. It sucks for us fan because he was in a program with LA Knight, which led to the pitch black match at the Royal Rumble, which, if I'm not mistaken, might have been his last match, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he had a house show match.
Okay, house show match. Okay, but I mean, as far as live on TV, yes.
Yeah, as far as television, LA Knight was his. Matter of fact, that was a pay-per-view.
Yes, the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And it sucks now because I really wanted to be a fly on the turnbuckle or be a fly on the rope. Whatever the Undertaker said to Bray Wyatt during that moment.
My goodness, right?
On Monday Night Raw.
Right.
I really want to know what Mark Calloway said.
But you saw in Bray's face, whatever he said, he soaked it in because it took him a minute to say what he needed to say after the Undertaker got out the ring. But that hurts.
Which makes me and you even more pissed off that we did not go to WrestleMania 31 in Santa Clara because it gave us Bray versus the Undertaker, and of course one of the most iconic moments is where Bray is walking backwards, and the Undertaker sits up, and then just I wish the old Kodak cameras were still a thing, because just imagine the flash bulbs you would have had with that. Like in the old days. I mean, yeah, cell phone cameras are great. We can do videos and take pictures and whatnot. But just for once, I wish we just
everybody in around is taking that picture. Yeah.
I just wish we could go back to old school for a minute and just see one of the best things about being a fan, certainly in the old days, was a big match is going on and you see all the flashing cameras across the arena. And the camera and the cameras from the TVs.
Did we get that with Hogan versus The Rock? Was that a lot of moments in that? Was that flashbulb?
Oh yes. Yeah.
But I was a fan of this character before he became this character. When the Wyatt family, when it was Brody Lee and
Eric Rowan,
yeah,
and then eventually Braun Strowman.
Then I was a fan of that. I was a big fan of Brody Lee because he did but no, Bray Wyatt was a good. I loved the character, but when he developed this right here, when
he took you to a different dimension with the Fiend, you're just like, whoa, because I mean, a lot of people were thinking, well, you know what, he can go direct a horror movie with the Fiend character. kind of like how Rob Zombie became a director.
Yeah.
Of course, talking about the musician, a lot of people were thinking the same thing about the Fiend. Like, I know WWE has a movie production company
Yeah.
also, and you thought, well, heck, maybe the Fiend could turn this into
But
into a series of horror films. But for me, um, you had the privilege of seeing him live.
mm-hmm.
I had the privilege of seeing him live. The one time I did see him live was at the 2018 Elimination Chamber when he took on Matt Hardy, when Matt Hardy was in his Woken character. Now
That was a good match, though.
Now, here's the only thing that made me upset about that match, because, of course, seeing Bray Wyatt live was one of my biggest things that I was looking forward to seeing in that particular pay per view, and seeing the Elimination Chamber itself in its structure.
Yes.
But I was looking forward to Bray Wyatt with the lamp talking about we're here, and then the music playing. I didn't get that. And I was
No.
like, no, that, and then he's in the ring. I'm like, I was like, damn it, I didn't get no theme music. What the hell?
Because I got the lamp. I
Yeah,
gotta be for you.
you got the whole interest. So
Yeah, I
for
got
that,
the smoke and everything.
for that, I'm like, damn you. No, because I was ready to put my cell phone flash on and
Be a firefly.
be a firefly. You damn right. And
Was
then
a
that didn't happen.
firefly, yeah.
And I'm just like, that gummit. But the fact is, I got to see the man perform live, and obviously, knowing what we know now, I cherish that. And the tribute that they did on SmackDown was
Oh
state of
my
the
God.
art, grade A. And then just having the camera focus on Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan, which of course those two have gone through it, losing Brody Lee and now losing Bray Wyatt, and then the symbolic of leaving the chair in the ring. And then, of course, the whole crowd singing "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands," which is obviously a gospel song, but that's something that Bray intertwined into his character. And one of the interviews that I listened to, he practically said that I'm trying to, you know, bond with people in a certain way to where he doesn't have a catchphrase like a lot of characters do. And like obviously the Undertaker used to say "Rest in peace," or
Yeah, exactly.
The Rock says if you smell the Rock's cooking, or that's
Yeah.
the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. Of course,
He wanted to be
DX
different.
saying "suck it." He wanted to be different. He wanted to reach the people, and he reached the people because there's a lot of people that could relate to his character. And I think when he came back, one of the last times he came back, he was so overwhelmed by the crowd's reaction and
Yes.
by the crowd's love. He kind of broke character for a minute.
That's what his comeback, that when he was basically telling his truths.
And who knows what program we could have had with LA Knight, which probably could have been more if Bray wasn't battling what he was battling. But it just sucks because I know there was so much of the character he wanted to give and wanted to pour out there, and Triple H, knowing that this character can make money, he gave Bray his full creative control.
Yeah, yeah. Even I believe even Vince, because him and Vince had a fallout, is what I read. But Triple H was like, no. But the pop he got when he came back.
Yeah, it was a huge pop. And then the the dynamic with him and Alexa Bliss, when Alexa was part of it almost seemed like everything he
You know
touched.
how I feel about Miss Bliss.
It just seemed, and it sucks that she couldn't go because I mean, trying to do last minute things,
issues and her being pregnant,
stuff like
Seth
that.
Rollins wanted to be there.
Yeah,
it was like a lot of people. From what I'm reading, the man's creativity in his brain was like out of this world. But what I did like the most, he was for the people, the fans. Everywhere he went, he would, even when he was packing his kids on the freaking the tour bus, he took time out to sign an autograph and take a picture.
Oddly enough, one of my friends that I used to work with, my friend Purcell, actually has a picture of him and Bray, and in his caption he said they didn't even talk wrestling; they were just talking about life, which is pretty amazing. Of course, he was a girl dad. um, I think he has 4 daughters, if I'm not mistaken.
I think what he has one boy, two
Okay,
boys.
so
Two boy. I don't know what the baby he has with JoJo now. Is that a boy? Was that a boy? Is that a boy?
I want to say it's
He has
three.
a son.
I want to say it's 3 girls and 1 boy. Because I know he had 2 with his ex before he got with JoJo, and then they had 2 with JoJo.
Yeah, I think one with JoJo is a boy. I don't know if the next. So the new one must be a girl then. Okay.
I could be wrong, but I just know I know for sure he has 2 daughters. That's for sure. But I mean, I said this off air, but not only that is just even the wrestlers from AEW were giving their tributes to Bray. The House of Black leaving the lamp at the front as they made their entrance.
Yeah.
Chris Jericho was having a concert in London, and he mentioned about Bray's passing. So obviously, it's been felt around the world. Like I said, wrestling like football is a big community.
Big family.
A big family, a very big fan base. Like I said, it is the male soap opera has been for many of years.
But just think about this, brother. Some of these wrestlers, wrestling is 365. There's no breaking in wrestling. They're wrestling every day, and they're traveling. Some driving, flying, this that.
Well, it's not like it's not like it was when we were younger, because obviously back in our day, during the, as some would say, the golden era, like I said, a lot of times on Sundays you were wrestling twice in 2 different cities. Like you would go do a 60-hour dance, a 60-hour dance in Philadelphia, and then you had to go be in Chicago 3 hours later. That's how it was, certainly back in those days when Flair and Hogan and Dusty and Arn and all those guys were doing it, because obviously back in those days, house shows were very big, and house shows drew a lot of money. And then to pinpoint what Hulk Hogan says is, I'm saying, well, heck, I don't need to have the belt, but if I drop the belt to you and I'm chasing you and the fans are coming out to see it, we can run and build off that
storyline. If your storylines are popular,
yeah,
we will pay attention.
Yeah, because again, at the end of the day,
why we're watching right now, because the storylines are hot, and it's interesting. It has our attention. Oh, how long did we take our hiatus? I think we took I know I took at least about a 3-year hiatus before I started watching again. Where it was just not.
Yeah,
it didn't catch my attention.
It was like you checked in.
Yep.
This was going on. Okay. Now, of course, we stayed faithful watching WrestleMania, because that was just the thing to do. You had to watch. You had to watch WrestleMania, and then after that, you're like, okay, you're not compelling me. You're not telling me a story. Why should I engage? Then all of a sudden, something clicked.
We got better,
and then here we are. Now I'm fully invested again. Okay.
Straight up.
The whole bloodline story got me invested.
You already know. Wait. You already know when I converted. You already know. I was there.
We were there.
When he came out.
We were there live in August of 2021 when you jumped on the bandwagon, because again, we all was begging for Roman to go heel. It was like, damn it, turn him heel. Damn it, turn him heel. Damn it, turn him heel. SummerSlam 2020, he comes in and interferes against The Fiend and Braun Strowman. There it is. Then Payback has began his almost 3-year reign as Universal Champion.
And it's good. Brother, we've been watching this same storyline for 3 years. That's how it used to be when we were in high school. We talked wrestling from 9th grade all the way up to our senior year because it was fucking great.
It was. I mean, granted, we may never get the golden era again and the attitude era again, and the ruthless aggression era. But right now, it's in a good place. AEW had a fantastic show in Wembley Stadium, and they already said that.
I'm real pissed off that I missed that one, for real.
and they've already said that they will be back in London next year for All In. And then next month, I think they have an October pay-per-view that's going to debut in Seattle, paying homage to the great Antonio Inoki. So I mean, like I said, the house shows may not be what they used to be, but like I said, the shows, it's drawing gates, it's drawing money. Obviously everything's not going to be perfect because there's just some storylines you wish like why you're not doing this. Now, of course, I mentioned this before you even came on the air earlier today, but here's something I wish that could happen, but I'm just gonna say anyway for those for those who are watching the show. But you cannot sit there and tell me that a Bray Wyatt or Fiend character, with an Aleister Black, Malachi Black story between those two, you cannot tell me that would have not drawn money, because just the psychological warfare back and forth with them doing promos on the
games would have been just straight out the roof,
and then just the build up to that,
and they both do the lights out thing and the in the background. Oh my, yeah,
that could have been special.
You mean Sister Abigail versus Black Mass? Ooh,
that would have been special, and I'm pretty sure they would have came up with some kind of special match for those two. And you know what? I think one of the best creative things Bray Wyatt ever did was the cinematic match that him and John Cena had at WrestleMania 38. Tremendous.
The workout scene. The workout scene was just it. You know, Undertaker and AJ Styles did a good job with their cinematic, their thing. But you're absolutely right. Bray Wyatt and John Cena put on, and that's hard for me to say because I don't give two shits about John Cena. He can fucking retire right now and never come back to WWE, and I'll be very happy. Just like the New Day need to go too. But that's another story. But anyway, we're talking about my man Bray. But yeah, them two put on a great, tremendous good WrestleMania. Just for it, not because that was the pandemic year.
Correct.
So for that to happen, because everything was, just
that was the best setting for that type of match to take place in.
Yes.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
You saw what could have been if John Cena made the heel turn. Then you had an NWO
John
Cena.
Yes. And I understand the reason why John Cena never turned heel, because he was for the kids. And that's almost, it was almost like when Hogan couldn't become a heel back then. It took for us to be adults for Hogan to turn the heel, because now we're like, yeah, this motherfucker can't sell vitamins anymore. Go ahead. But for right now, Cena is good, the character that he is right now. It makes sense.
Well, again, like I said, he does so many Make-A-Wish Foundation. Kind of like the same reason, almost the same reason as to why Drew McIntyre doesn't want to turn heel, because of the stuff he does for Make-A-Wish.
Well, he was already a heel, and that was pretty good.
Yes.
When he was a Scottish psychopath, and I know the dynamics, the reason why they changed that, because you can't have a character with the name psychopath.
And then there's Dr. David Schultz, but that's another story for another day. But you want to talk about not breaking kayfabe? Dr. David Schultz was a unique character, to say the least. I mean, if you thought Vader went crazy for for beating up an Indian reporter because he said is wrestling fake, well, as we said, we've said this more than once, and I'm going to say it again. You never, ever, 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 you never ever say wrestling is fake, because they can put you in a headlock and can damn near kill you. Oh, you gonna pass out, and you gonna take a very nice nap, but don't.
Just as you have to picture it as a story, just like as we have soap operas, just General Hospital, Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives. We just have SmackDown, Raw, NXT,
and Dynamite and Collision and Rampage. Exactly. For those,
it's just that soap operas are a daily thing. Ours is just a weekly thing. and it's
Yeah.
watch. I'm
It's
a
fun.
40-year-old man, and I still watch it like I'm 12. Okay,
Yes.
12-year-old
Yes.
with a license. That is me. You better understand that. Okay.
But nonetheless, I mean, just getting the alert on my phone and you're just like, I had to take a double take. I'm just like, what?
Wait, you hit me with that, and all I could write back was, "What?"
I mean, it like I said, this one was a severe kick to the nuts.
Well, because all the reports was that he was coming. He was so that all those reports were false because he wasn't healthy then. I knew when he didn't make the return at SummerSlam, something had to be up because SummerSlam that's one of the Mecca returns because that's now the transition into WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, every pay-per-view and everything now is leading up, you know, that's kickstarting that. Even though it's the Royal Rumble per se, because the Royal Rumble winner,
Well, normally SummerSlam is normally the segue leading into the Survivor Series, of course. I mean, yeah, there's monthly pay-per-views, but the big four is still Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Those are the cornerstone pillars of pay-per-views of events when it comes to the WWE. So
I think Payback is going to be very good. I think I might have to tune into that. Matter of fact, it's this Saturday. Payback is this Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to
add that to the weekend of the first official week of college football and watching Robert McCall do it one more time in the Equalizer 3.
this week.
Yes, it is this week.
Hey,
Yes.
Blue Beetle might have to be on hold. As much as I am a DC connoisseur and love to watch DC try to get close to Marvel, which that'll never happen.
No.
But if Robert McCall is coming out this
week, he will be out September the 1st, this upcoming Friday. Speaking of which, I will be back behind the mic this Friday at Liberty High School.
Oh.
So actually, it's Liberty playing a football team from Hawaii.
Oh, okay. Big ups. I'm sorry. It may be a Vegas, but I'm pulling for the Hawaii team just because of what's going on out there. So not
only that,
I have to subscribe back to the thing so I can hear you while I'm at work. That was one of the things I had to cut.
So we're doing both the JV game and the varsity game. So
you'll be there 4, 5?
4:00. So I'm probably just gonna head straight to there from work, and of course, get ready to get back down the mic and do some high school football. Excited about that.
When is this again? I know you just said it.
This upcoming Friday.
Friday, perfect.
Yes.
That's payday. So I might can slide something around and subscribe back to the thing because you're doing the football. I just couldn't keep up with you with doing all the other stuff. But if you're doing football, that I can listen to you do football, baseball, and if you do wrestling, I'll probably get into that too.
Well, that would be unique trying to call high school wrestling, but high school basketball is fun. High school baseball is fun. The volleyball tournament that I did was pretty doggone unique and fun to do that. Also, watching those young ladies play.
I did listen to you do volleyball. That was pretty interesting. Yeah,
that was interesting to say the least. Yeah. But again, certainly we want to send our thoughts and prayers to the Rotunda family and the Wyndham family for their loss, because we are hurting just as much because we enjoyed how Wyndham Rotunda entertained us, the fans, with his outstanding words and his character and his creativity. Certainly one of the most creative minds that we've seen. And again, 36 is just
too damn
young. But as my pastor always says, God has the right to take back what belongs to him. And We being his children.
But it is hard for us to accept that, but that is very, very true. It's very, very true.
I mean, the only thing we can say is just, when God has a need for you, God has a need for you. And sometimes you want to be like, no, Lord, I don't want to, but like I said, He is the Almighty. And who am I to argue? But with that said, we thank you for watching this late night edition as we pay our respects and pay our tributes to two legendary figures in the world of wrestling, to Terry Funk and to Bray Wyatt. And of course, we talked a little bit about the Trey Lance trade from the 49ers to the Cowboys. And now it is official. Of course, by later on today, all teams must go down to their 53-man roster and, of course, get their practice squad going. And that means the 104th edition of the National Football League season is finally arriving. We got the Chiefs and Lions to kick it off on the 7th. And then the 10th is week 1. And then, of course, it's ties with week 1 of Monday Night Football between the Bills and the Jets. So sometime before the 7th, you will get a show from us, and we will do our yearly Super Bowl picks. We will give our homer pick, and our non-homer pick, as we normally do. And then finally, we will be able to do the full season of records from week 1 on down. So,
that's right. That's our weekly picks.
Yes, our weekly picks. Looking forward to it, of course. His beloved Seminoles take the field on Sunday against LSU in Tallahassee, as they are ranked number.
Knocked them last year.
As they are number 8 ranked in the preseason polls, and LSU is ranked number 5th. And of course, as mentioned, LSU was upset in the Superdome by Florida State, and of course, his beloved Seminoles proved wrong because he was not expecting a season from Florida State, and they ended up winning 10 games. So,
said what, 4?
4 or 5 is what you said.
4 or 5, yep.
And they said, eat crow, we gave you 10. So, we will see if Jordan Travis can build off of a season from last year and try to lead the Seminoles back to the promised land, which is the ACC championship for the first time in a long time. So, normally, as we say, September is our peak month of shows. So, you'll be getting a lot of shows from the Mizzle and Dub show. So, with that said, we thank you guys for watching. We appreciate our subscribers on the Instagram page and on the YouTube page.
Love you guys.
We love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Yes. Thank you for being entertained by us as we talk sports, among other things. So,
and thank you for listening to something that we different. Now we have talked about wrestling. We gave wrestling a full attention. Well, it kind of sucked that it took 2 of our favorite wrestlers to perish for that to happen. So that means some way we got to just mix that in.
Yeah, but like I said, we wanted to pay homage because, like I said, Terry Funk is a pillar. Terry Funk in the last 50 years is one of the most important men in our business.
He's on his way to being a pillar.
And Bray Wyatt and Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt was also on his way to being that. But things happen, life happens. So you just, as I always say, just savor the moment, because again, you don't know when the good Lord's going to call you home, because you just have to be ready for it. But with that said, we appreciate you guys being entertained by us, and we appreciate you guys watching and subscribing to us. And like I said, we will kick it in high gear. We may even have some guests for this roundtable of picks to do football, because, why not have more football minds talk about football?
Exactly. And you still got good boxing coming up. I'm telling you, boxing and football is about to be kicking it right now. This is the prime time for that.
Which shout out to Big Baby Anderson. He took care of business again on this Friday. He definitely was the best he's looked in his young career. Hopefully that'll lead up to more fights for him. So we shall see. But he is Mizzle, aka the Fiend. I'm Dub. We, as always, say thank you for watching. And as always, it's 5 o'clock some damn where.
Indeed.